So let's talk about contacting non-human intelligence. It's a topic that can get super complicated super fast. But according to Dr. Stephen Greer, humanity is basically standing at this huge fork in the road, with two completely different ways to engage. So let's dive in and break down what those two paths actually are.
Okay, so on one side, you've got the C5 initiative. This is all about consciousness. It's aiming for peaceful diplomacy. And then, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have this militarized path. Their goal? Grab the tech. And when I say opposite, I mean completely opposite. The source material says they're 180 degrees diametrically opposed. And honestly, getting your head around that massive split is the key to everything we're going to talk about today.
All right, so here's our roadmap. We'll start with these two paths, then we'll dig into the C5 initiative and its polar opposite, military psionics. After that, a pretty serious warning, a proposed solution, and we'll wrap things up with a vision of what peace could actually look like.
First up, let's explore the C5 initiative. This is the path that's all about consciousness and diplomacy, not gadgets and weapons. So what is C5? Well, it stands for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. And the big difference here, the thing you really got to remember, is that it's us starting the conversation. It's a human-initiated thing. We're talking about using things like meditation and focused thought to send out a peaceful, diplomatic invitation. It's not about forcing anything. It's an open hand, not a clenched fist.
And the backstory here is pretty wild. According to Dr. Greer, this whole C5 thing wasn't just some academic theory. It came straight from his own life. It all started back in March of '73 with a near-death experience that just plunged him into studying consciousness. And get this, just a few months later, he has this incredibly powerful contact experience out in the mountains of North Carolina, and that experience, he says, became the blueprint for the C5 protocols that officially kicked off in 1990.
This quote, wow, it really captures the feeling of it all. See, according to this worldview, these encounters aren't supposed to be scary. Not at all. They're described as just overwhelmingly beautiful, loving, and filled with this high state of consciousness. That, right there, is what's being called real contact.
So when you boil it all down, the C5 philosophy rests on a few key ideas. First, it's an invitation, right? Not a summons or a demand. Second, it's not about taking stuff. The goal is not to acquire technology. It's all about building a relationship, based on mutual respect. And the big picture goal, the ultimate purpose, universal peace. Pretty ambitious, huh?
All right, let's do a complete 180. We're going to switch gears and look at that other path. And this one couldn't be more different from C5. This is the one that's all about technology and this thing they call psionics.
Okay, so the source talks about these two acronyms, TAC and CAT. TAC is for Technology-Assisted Consciousness, and CAT is Consciousness-Assisted Technology. What does that even mean? Well, the idea is that they're supposedly using these really advanced electromagnetic systems to basically supercharge a person's consciousness. It's like creating this high-tech link between a human mind and a machine, all for military purposes.
And the claim is that this tech is used in a very specific and frankly very aggressive way. Step 1. Use these psionics to find an NHI craft. Step 2. Hijack it. Take over its systems. Step 3. Hit it with electromagnetic weapons to bring it down. Step 4. Capture everything, the craft, the occupants, whether they're alive or not. And the final step, the whole point of the exercise, reverse engineer the tech to get a leg up militarily.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It hammers home just how different these two paths are. C5 is a peaceful hello. This other approach, it's described as an operation to literally, quote, shoot them out of the sky, grab their tech, and capture the beings. It's a world of difference.
So you can probably guess that following this aggressive path comes with some serious risks. And you'd be right. The source lays out a pretty high-stakes warning about where all this could be heading.
Here's the bombshell. The source claims that, based on intercepted communications, the NHI are, well, they're fed up. They've had enough of these hostile actions, and that implies that their patience is just about gone. We could be getting dangerously close to a tipping point. Now you might be thinking, okay, so what? Let them intervene. Maybe they can fix things for us. But here's the twist. The source argues that a direct intervention is actually the worst-case scenario. So why? Why would that be such a bad thing?
Well, there are a few big reasons according to this viewpoint. First, just think about human nature. We tend to fear what we don't understand, the other. And that fear has supposedly been cranked up to 11 by decades of movies and stories about evil alien invaders. So even if they showed up with the best intentions, it would be so easy for the media to paint it as an attack. But here's the really scary part. It could be the perfect excuse for a staged alien attack using our own advanced tech to kick off a massive global war based on a lie.
Okay, so if intervention is the disaster we want to avoid, what's the solution? How do we steer away from that cliff? Well, the source suggests a two-part plan to pull us back from the brink.
It's a two-pronged approach, really. You've got the top-down part. Governments need to step in with executive orders, new laws, whatever it takes, to put a hard stop to all hostile actions, immediately. Then there's the bottom-up part, the grassroots movement. This is where regular people, millions of them, start using the peaceful C5 protocols. The idea is that together, these two actions would send a message that's impossible to ignore. Humanity wants peace.
And all of this whole practical plan, it's really all in service of a much bigger, more hopeful vision for what our future could look like. The source shares this amazing story about a precognitive dream from way back in 1978. And in this dream, he saw a totally different future. A future where contact wasn't some black ops mission, but a huge public event like an ambassador arriving. He describes this egg-shaped craft landing, an ET elder stepping out for everyone to see, a real, peaceful contact moment for the whole world.
And that really brings us to the final and maybe the most important question. The worldview we've been exploring says that humanity is at this massive inflection point. We have two very different futures in front of us. One is built on conflict and fear. The other is built on diplomacy and peace. So the question for all of us is, which one are we actually creating?